Welcome to Almost Above Average. I am Chris McIntyre, and today Jonathan Travis and I are diving into some more pressing social and political issues of our time. We're talking about profiling, human trafficking, and the actions of ICE agent issues that affect real people every day in America. We'll also break down the recent Supreme Court decisions and what they mean for immigration policies, and explore the economic strain many Americans are facing, and discuss how tariffs and healthcare systems are impacting our communities. We'll also dig into the role of insurance companies, public understanding of vaccines, and the environmental challenges threatening our national parks. Most importantly, Jonathan and I will reflect on why critical thinking and human connection matter now more than ever in a world that often feels divided. So join us on this honest, thought-provoking conversation here on Almost Above Average, and here we go with Jonathan Travis. Well, welcome back, Jonathan Travis.
Well, thank you very much, Chris McIntyre. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I had so much fun the first time, and we had a lot of really good engagement on YouTube. So I was like, man, let's try it again and keep giving the people what they want, Mr. Travis.
Hell yeah. Education is our gift, and the jesters will bring it.
That's right. Hey, our opinions are our own, and all that good jazz. So what I thought we'd do, we have a good list of topics that we do want to get to today. But what I thought we'd do is I'll kick off the first topic with we'll watch a video, and then we'll just lead in the conversation from there.
Cool.
So you don't know you haven't seen this video yet.
No.
In fact, I just pulled it up. I only watched a part of it, so let's see how this goes. All right. So what is this tab? Don't worry, I'll cut all this out. Okay. Can you see that?
I heard about this, yeah.
Okay, here we go. That sounds like profiling. I haven't watched the full video yet. It kind of sounds like profiling. What do you think?
Sort of. But there's also this concept that I've heard from police officers. If you break line of sight, you can't guarantee the same vehicle. So pursuing is like beatable in court, depending on how it works.
It sounds like a gray area, huh?
But the principle here is not the first. There was another person who was sitting in the passenger seat of a car, and I forget why they got pulled over, and he got yanked out and pulled away. There was a girl that was the writer for a paper at some major school. They had a van literally pull up, mass people got out, grabbed her, pulled her in the van, and they didn't see her ever again.
Oh, man.
And the number of street level unidentified abductions resulting in what some people are calling human trafficking is spiking to the point to where communities are actually starting to fight back. Did you see that video about the lady and her baby in that small town, and the neighbors all come out and start fighting with the police officers?
No.
Yeah, so the ICE agents or police officer or whatever are literally trying to rip her baby out of her hands. Ugh. And all the neighbors come out and they like start trying to get in the middle. Some of them get arrested. It was a whole thing.
No, I didn't see that one. I did see one where there were like 5 or 6 ICE agents, and they were like in a pickup truck, and they had another car, and they had assumed a wrong identity they were at a house and they were trying to get in. And when the guy came out, he's like, "The fuck you guys doing here?" He's like, "You guys can't be here. Get the hell off my property." And they were like, "Oh, I guess wrong house." You know, they all realized they fucked up and immediately left.
That's lucky, because there was the family in St. Louis. The lady had just bought the house or just moved into, I forget which, both maybe, with her family. ICE agents raided. They were looking for people who lived there a year before. They kicked the door in, didn't identify themselves, looked like a home invasion. Right. They ended up taking all the electronics, phones, all the cash and everything. They were able to identify the people on site as not being the people they looked for. She was able to explain everything. They kept everything and walked out the door. So she had nothing as they walked out the door. And she goes, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" "Well, file a complaint. You may get it back." So they invaded a house without ID, took her shit, and left.
Like, here's the process for you to go through to get it back.
Well, it was even worse than that. They made the teenage daughter or underage daughter strip naked in front of ICE agents, supposedly, in the house, and made her do stuff. Like, it was, yeah.
What do you think is the charge of these ICE agents? Like, apparently they're getting orders, you know, at the very top of their ranks. They're being told that they can kind of behave in a different manner than we're used to as the public. It seems like.
So there's 2 parts to this that are really critical to understand. One, if you don't enforce a law, does the law exist? It's kind of like if a tree falls in a forest and nobody hears it mentality, right?
Right.
And the problem is we have people in charge of these agencies doing stuff illegally based on what the courts are actually saying, and lawyers and all these different people, but nobody's holding them accountable. Nobody's really starting to push back. And now we're starting to see an uprise. And I'm hoping that people start pushing back maybe a little bit harder. And I've heard more and more rhetoric about maybe it's time to use the Second Amendment for this kind of stuff.
Right. What does the pushback look like? What does the pushback look like when the people who are in charge of regulate or, oversight are corrupt? Or it seems like that.
Yeah. And that's the other part of it too, is, Nomi and Trump and all those are citing orders like you can invade a house without probable cause and do whatever you need to find these people. That's the executive order they passed. What do you like? That's Gestapo. That's the Third Reich pre-World War II mentality right there. And unless the people stand up and start pitchforking these guys, I don't know what else to do. But
do you think it's on the onus is on us as the people to stand up together and a revolution kind of thing, like rise up? How we fight back against it feels tyrannical. This feels like a tyrannical government.
Well, it is, but it's a little bit different than Nazi Germany. I think a lot of people need to understand that. So right now we're seeing a major shift in the market. We're using capitalism against others. And I don't necessarily mean me, but I mean the culture as a whole. Like Tesla sales have tanked. Other companies are starting to tank and they're starting to change some of their views, but then others are still trying to align in order to get around tariffs and whatnot. There's been talks about strikes. There have been strikes. There's been no buy days, and it's affecting companies. Will they push back? Well, I don't know. We'll see. But I think we're not far from an actual event happening where they invade the wrong house and a bunch of people die. And that's going to be a whole different ballgame.
Right. As soon as a homeowner, they get into a situation where someone's not going to put up with that shit, then you have a whole situation, a whole new situation. And as far as the deportation goes, it kind of feels like it's getting towards American citizens. Did you see...
There's been like five or six American citizens that have been deported illegally.
Right. Did you see that Bruce Springsteen thing last night?
That was hilarious. Yeah, I watched the video and I read Trump's response. It's like,
in your opinion,
he's the boss.
Right. Dude,
what the hell are you talking about?
Say he's untalented? That's the boss.
He's the boss. What are you doing?
I know.
Who are you talking to?
That's how I was offended. But even like when I read it though, like there's an underlying threat in it. Like it's basically like have fun. Let me pull up the post.
If you look at all of Trump's stuff and you compare it, and I read an article that was comparing against 19's bootleg era mafia mentality and conversations, and it really comes across like that. If you listen to how Trump talks to other nations, it's enforcer protection bracket mob style communication. It's literally like, talk to me or I'm going to hurt you.
Right.
That's literally
I'm going to break your
what
leg.
They did. If you look at, I'm going to take this and you can't do anything about it. Try to stop me. That's all the same mentality. And that's the literally stuff he's tweeting out and truthing out and all that kind of stuff.
Right. And it seems like the Supreme Court is starting to not want to put up with it. Or at least the last couple of decisions, there were 7-2, 7-2, 9-0.
Yeah. And if you look at the question you asked me again, like, are we going to have to rise up? I don't know yet.
Right.
That I hope not. That's not the world I want my daughter in.
Yeah.
But if the Supreme Court decides, hey, we've had enough of this, which they have been doing, they did rule against the alien immigrants stuff, and they're ruling against some other things. They're telling them to they're telling the DOJ or DHS or whoever to start bringing these people back. Like they're starting to move in that direction. But until they start arresting these people and holding them in contempt, I don't know. It sounds like a lot of bark with no bite.
Like the people making the calls at the top, like telling people.
Start arresting people. The lawyer that shows up and says no, arrest him.
Right.
Arrest his client, start arresting these people and holding them in contempt of court. They are in contempt of court. And even the judges are saying they're in contempt of court. Well, get those U.S. Marshals to do their job and go arrest some people.
Because if they don't, that's a precedent also. Well,
that's the problem is, what's her name? Pamela Bondi on TV during a cabinet briefing to the president said, don't worry, I control the U.S. Marshals. Nobody here's going to get arrested. We can keep going.
Right.
And if that's true, and they can't, the Supreme Courts or federal courts can't get law enforcement to go do their job, then that's literally what the Second Amendment in the Constitution is for. Like in the Constitution and in the Founding Fathers' own words, that's why we have that clause.
Yeah.
Like we may have to stand up as a people. Now, unlike Nazi Germany, people here are ready to go get their guns and get after it.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people here that are going to get hurt really quickly because of tariffs, and people are turning on the current administration the fastest I've ever seen.
Right, but do you think that's enough? Enough people turning on him, or is his base still strong?
It doesn't matter. Like there's the 3 meals rule, and that's going to come into effect here really soon with the shelves becoming empty because no more stuff is being imported from China. Once clothes stop going or start having trouble being found, once the prices start going up, well, enough businesses go out of business while, car manufacturers and everybody else is laying off people. Like we're going to hit a breaking point where people are just done with this nonsense. And it won't matter what side of the aisle are you on. They're going to
restart, reset, and refocus as many times as you need. You are your own greatest project. But just always remember, don't give up.
Get 5 stick packs of Bucked Up pre-workout, a super soft flag t-shirt, and the perfect 28 Oz shaker bottle all for just $9.99. Head to buckedup.com and use code McMedia1 at checkout for huge savings on all fitness supplements and gear. Don't miss out on this unbeatable deal to power your workouts and look great doing it.
to hurt. They're going to realize that they're betrayed, or they're going to go, I told you so. But at the end, they're going to push.
Hopefully
now,
we
it's
all
just a matter of will
unify.
the right guards move fast enough to prevent that from happening.
Right. Hopefully we can all unify Republican, Democratic, Independent under the collective stress that we're going to go through as a nation because of these decisions that they're making.
Well, if you saw the announcement yesterday, we lost our last AAA rating for credit scores.
I did see that.
The ability for us to borrow money just dissolved as a country.
That's
we
crazy.
Are toast in that regard.
I don't know who's watching everything that's happening and being like, yep, this is exactly what I voted for. I'm loving this.
Well, there are people like that. You and I have talked to people in the last 2 days that are like that.
I know.
But then Trump's accepting a $400 million plane and getting a $5.5 billion deal to build palaces in 2 different places.
Dude.
And people here are being told they can't buy 2 Barbies from his own words.
You know what I do appreciate
are you guys
about
nuts?
You know what I appreciate about this whole, jetliner thing is that at least he's being corrupt and he's out in the open. He's like, yep, I'm going to take the free plane. I want the free plane. I like free stuff. I'm going to have the free thing. Like,
you can thank John Roberts for
leave
that.
me damned. Who cares, right?
Yeah, he knows he's untouchable.
Yeah.
He has it. The fix is in right now. And unless the courts reverse path, go back and shut that crap down, it's revolution. I don't really see any other paths.
Yeah, that's dangerous. And it's not like a revolution like the Civil War where 2 sides meet on a battlefield. Like there may be 2 sides, but we're all going to be scattered out throughout the world in different countries, in different states. Our warfare is going to be how I imagine it a lot online for sure. Maybe in the streets when we see each other. Well,
we already have some of that.
Right.
I suspect that's just on the timeline now. I don't know. I hope not. I really hope not. But
yeah, who knows? Well, let's watch the rest of this video. Let's see. Did I delete it already? Dang it. No, I messed up. Oh well. All right. Let's talk about some racism.
So the deporting and racism comment that I saw the other day really struck home. So apparently, you heard about Trump's golden visas?
Yes. He's basically selling, citizenship.
Right now, it's coming in as white South Africans. So we're deporting brown people and importing white people. Immigrants are bad, but we're going to let them buy their way in.
When they're white,
it's rid of the poor ones.
When they're white, it's okay.
Well,
if
when
they
they're
have
rich,
money,
it's okay.
When they're rich and white, okay. Brown,
poor.
No,
not just rich, not just white. You heard about the 17 cartel family members that just came across the border in a special deal with the Trump government?
No.
17 family members of one of the largest cartels in Mexico.
Yeah, it was El Chapo. I did hear that. It was El Chapo.
Made a deal with the Trump administration. 17 family members got visas to come in.
What are we doing?
It's not white. It's rich.
Okay, just rich, I guess. Huh. Yeah, you're right. He's in the Middle East, basically forming a new gang, looks like.
Yep, bringing in that business, man. We got to get these jobs back in America.
Yeah, we can get these jobs back in America. How are we going to do that? Well, first, I'm going to accept a $400 billion plane.
Yeah, and $5.5 billion deal here and a $1.5 billion deal there. And
yeah, and I'm going to remove sanctions because they are going to let me build a Trump Tower in Syria. I mean, not for that. I mean, just because I'm a nice guy and I want to give him a shot.
And I want to remind everybody who's watching this, according to what I read, 17 of the 20 9/11 hijackers came out of Syria.
They're still really good friends of ours. Okay?
I know. They're only a terrorist nation that Trump even declared a terrorist nation just a handful of years ago.
But now that they're nice, they are
now
not
that
a
they're
terrorist
giving
nation.
our president money over money.
Yep. Now that Qatar is giving us planes, they are also not a terrorist nation anymore.
No.
No.
You're only a terrorist when you're hurting us, not when you give us money.
It's not us money, though. It's him. It's giving him money. I'm not getting that shit. I get zero benefit from that plane.
Actually, you're going to lose. The estimates are it's going to cost us about $1 billion to rebuild the plane and make it secured enough for Air Force One.
In fact, I'm going to have to pay into that plane, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah, between the disassembling everything to find all possible communication stuff, and then re-outfitting it with all the heavy armor, radar evasion, anti-missile intercept, radar systems, communication systems, secured bunkers, like all the other stuff that's built. And people are like, what, a bunker in a plane? It's like, yeah, there's a special area in the plane that's meant for impact.
I talked to someone the other day about this specific thing, and they're really close to me and my family, but they watch Fox News, or and he was speaking to me about that as if I can't believe they're giving him shit for taking a plane. What? The foreign government of Qatar, the terrorist harboring country of Qatar, you can't understand how.
The reason we had a whole war.
Yeah.
Twice.
Right. Some of this stuff, and even I can't even engage with that side. Sometimes I can, but sometimes when you're in a conversation about facts, you get to a point with a Trump supporter where you run out, where it just becomes, I believe it, and that's why it's true.
Well, there's a saying that I think is important, and I've kept this in mind. And it was from Nazi Germany. First, they came for the immigrants, and then they came for the criminals, or vice versa. And then they came for this, and then they came for the Jews, and then they came for me, and there was nobody left to stand for me.
Oh, yeah.
That concept, that horrible sentiment, like the Anne Frank style sentiment.
Yeah.
It's just atrocious. And we're seeing it more and more. First, they came for the MS-13.
Yep.
Which, I'll be honest with you, that whole thing about Trump believing the Photoshop, it just kills me.
Oh, my God.
And then now they're coming for people that are speaking out against the government. So there was the girl on the one that got abducted, I was telling you about with the van. She had spoken out against some Trump policy, so they revoked her visa and yanked her off the street. But she was a law-abiding, visa-holding student doing well in school and on the editorial staff of the school paper. And now they're trying to mass revoke. I was reading, was it 500,000 visas they're trying to revoke? And they're talking about self-deportation. I guess it's wild.
Have you seen these
I'm telling my coworkers, don't come here. Like from the other countries, don't do it.
Right. Did you see the congressional hearing with Kristi Noem?
Some of it.
Oh my God.
Clips of it.
She didn't answer a thing.
None of them do. Like if you look at Patel, FBI guy.
Oh my God, that was horrible too.
Yeah. And the reality is, this is what's going on across the whole border is they don't give a shit.
Right.
They're going to do what they want to do. And all this is just what they have to do to move on. But again, until somebody does something, it's useless.
Right. Well, that means it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse until the baddest good guy stands up and does something. Whatever that means.
We're starting to see that. Like the tech giants are starting to turn on them. Fox News is turning on them. Everybody's starting to turn on them. I'm hoping that sentiment goes fast enough to prevent armed conflict.
Right. But I'm really worried that he's not going to leave office. Doesn't seem like he wants to. Doesn't care about the rules.
Well, let's be honest. That guy ain't healthy. We're going to see how that goes.
Well, no, on that
the Simpsons predicted it, damn it. We'll see what happens.
On that front, correct. Like, I think that is the case, but what if we
just
Vance
don't have what's his face puppet?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The guy that orchestrated and wrote Project 2025, Vance is supposedly his puppet, so.
I forgot that guy's name. He's not a real big popular name.
The guy he's not supposed to be. He's supposed to be the guy behind the scenes. He's the wizard.
Oh, screw that guy.
Pretty much.
Well, let's talk about the end of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Yeah, so Social Security is running out of money, and that's a whole funny thing with a lot of different problems. But Medicare and Medicaid is already on the books to be significantly impacted with all sorts of new rules, regulations, and cuts, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Over in this budget. Like, people in this budget are screaming on both sides of the aisle, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
The conservatives are like, no, this is getting rid of it, and this is getting rid of it, and You talk to people and they're like, well, I worked hard for my money. They shouldn't get it if I didn't get it. That kind of stuff. It's like, but you are getting it. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, you're not getting it.
But that whole I worked for it, they should have worked for it mentality just makes me so sad about the future of this country.
Well, I know they're trying to cut it really bad, but there was some bill that was going through Congress, was it yesterday, that didn't pass because some of the Republicans say
the new budget.
Huh? Was that the budget? Yeah,
yeah.
There was like 4 or 5 Republicans that were upset that it didn't cut enough from Medicaid, so that's why they didn't vote. I was like, what? Who says that? But even Josh Hawley made a comment about not cutting Medicaid and how important it was to the people of wherever the fuck he's from. I think it's Illinois.
Yeah, God. There's so many aspects to this that just drive me up the wall. I love Bernie Sanders' response. Hey, you want to save a lot of money on Medicare and Medicaid? Mm-hmm. If we go to single payer, we can save like $1 trillion across the industry.
Right.
And it's like, well, that sounds like a good deal. No. You don't understand. It doesn't make us money.
Right. So what does that mean? It's like socialist?
Yeah, that's one of the things that really drives me up the wall is the idea that socialism equals bad. And it's no. Socialism's a tool, just like capitalism's a tool, and all these different are just forms. Socialism by itself isn't bad. It's how it's applied and how it's controlled and how it's corrupted.
Right.
Universal health care, which is the real question, right? Like everybody has some kind of affordable health care. You're probably thinking, oh, well, that doesn't work. It's like, well, every other major first world country has it pretty much.
And anytime we talk about the social...
people have death panels. It's like, no. I know plenty of responses. That's all horse crap.
Yeah.
Everything that they're using as a reason not to have it is purely built off of the profit-driven thing that we have here. And we have the worst healthcare of like any first world country almost, unless you're rich. And that's a whole different ballgame. Then it's the best.
Right.
They'll purchase stem cells.
I would support a single payer system. I would love socialized health care. It sounds good on its face. I know there's problems with it, but I think the way we do our health care, and I'm like 80 grand in debt because of a surgery because I missed a form one day for insurance. So I had a hip surgery a long time ago where it was just between insurance because of a form that I didn't fill out. And by the time we caught it, it was already past the time where I could do anything about it. So then I'm just screwed.
And how is that a thing? Like what the debt when like that's ridiculous. Right. A form had a deadline. Come on.
What? Right.
Am I dead?
Yeah.
Come on.
Some of this stuff is crazy.
No, it's a game that's set up for you to fail. And I don't know if you heard about this, but I think it was United Healthcare. One of the reasons they're tanking is it came out that they are manipulating what procedures they approve in order to ensure that they make more money by keeping a person sick for longer. It's like...
That sounds like something an insurance company would do. That's what I deal with on the regular dealing with roofing, you know?
Yeah. And if you realize their goal is to make money at your expense, then there's a game that they can rig. They've rigged it. They're doing it.
Well, for sure. The Allstate CEO was, I think it was last week, he was in Congress testifying, trying to answer to why he's not paying out claims. How come he's not paying out legitimate insurance claims? You know,
because he'll lose money. Duh.
Duh. Because
I need more money.
Hello.
I don't care about these fools.
I have 5 yachts now. If next year I have 4, that's unacceptable.
Well, who was it? RFK and like Steve Miller and somebody else said it is patriotic for you to be healthy. And it's like, are you shitting me? Like you're feeding me garbage and you expect and poisoning my water and giving me no idea how to help make myself healthy and you're punishing me?
And telling me
that's like kicking the dog because it's scared and pees on the floor. Come on.
Yeah. I don't know about him being the health secretary. You know, he said with his own words, don't take medical advice from me. And that bothers me coming from the Human Health and Services Director.
Do as I say, don't do as I... Wait, that doesn't work either.
No.
No, it's ridiculous. Like a non-medical practitioner being the head of that organization.
He doesn't seem like the healthiest type of guy. He was swimming in
busted. Yeah, last week in the poop pool.
Yeah, and like he had that...
He was literally up shit creek.
I mean, we could all hear him talk. I mean, for sure he didn't always talk like that. Like something happened, you know?
Well, that brainworm did some damage. That brainworm.
Oh, yeah. I have empathy for him, but he's not the healthiest type of person that, I don't know. He doesn't inspire health and fitness and wellness to me. He just doesn't. He looks buff. Like I could tell he goes to the gym. but I don't know about health and wellness.
No. No.
Same thing with our defense secretary.
Leaking out plans like a man.
And
That's just
you've
rough.
heard the reports about how obsessed he is with finding the leakers, right?
Well, he's out now, isn't he?
I heard he was going to be out, and then I haven't heard anything else since.
I thought what's-his-face took over.
Who?
Stephen Miller? Didn't he take that over?
For fuck's sake.
He's got like whoever took over has like 5 different roles in the cabinet for our administration. It's ridiculous.
That guy is an evil, like he was made with an evil stick mold. He's just like,
well, when you vote for a clown, you get a clown car.
Man, that poor guy. I can't believe he's married.
There's a lot of bad decisions out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the whole healthcare thing, the whole food. Now, here's the thing about RFK that really gets me. And this is why I feel bad for him is not everything he says is wrong, but he does get caught up in the conspiracies. There's a wonderful saying that I love. In ignorance, conspiracy will fill the void, or something to that matter. Like if you don't understand how something works, your ability to believe a false narrative is too easy, right?
Right.
Because we as humans are designed to look for an answer, to understand our safety and be able to provide for our safety. So if somebody is fed something and they don't understand it, like how vaccines work, then these ideas of microchips with GPS trackers listening to them in bloodstream.
Yeah, we'll
up,
find
right?
things to fill those voids to make it make sense for us.
And as we have dumbed down America through the continued denial of education over decades, we have people that just don't have enough knowledge to understand how anything works.
Oh.
I spent so much time during COVID explaining to people how the vaccine works, just explaining how it works. And it was amazing to me how many people don't understand what DNA even is. It's wild.
Hey, let's explain how the vaccine works, because there's a lot of chatter online still about the vaccine, like people still blaming things on the vaccine and all that.
So, all right, so there's 2 parts to the vaccine that are important to take care of. So one is any vaccine, regardless of what type, has secondary items in it. There's some kind of saline, which is water, basically.
Carrier.
It's just a solution everything goes into. And then you have some portion of the virus that is dead normally. mRNA is a little different. But like the flu vaccine and a lot of those, you get the dead virus in there, and there's usually like some kind of stabilization agents in there, like different components from eggs or some other different stabilizing agents to help it from breaking down too fast so that it has a shelf life, right? That's why we put preservatives in foods, to preserve them, right? And there are people that can have a somewhat mild to severe reaction to that kind of stuff. I don't want to throw that out. That is a real thing. Some portion of the vaccine will have a autonomic response to the stabilizers in the vaccine. Right. But the flu vaccine and most of the vaccines we've had up till now, you take the virus, you grow it in a lab, you irradiate it and kill it, you throw it in the thing, you inject it in you, your body goes, I don't like that. It learns what it is, it creates an immune response, and it has that immune response stored in your system for some period of time. It could be a year, it could be 7, it could be a lifetime, whatever. mRNA is different. And that's why COVID was so scary for a lot of people, is we couldn't give a vaccine like we did for flu for COVID because of how fast it was mutating. So it was mutating every few months. And even in amongst the population, there's so many different variants that if we just injected the one, what your immune system says, hey, I recognize that, let me attack it, could be different. It's like saying, hey, son, that thing right there, that red thing with the 4 wheels is a car. And then he looks over at the thing with 2 wheels and is black. He goes, is that a car? No, it's a motorcycle. No, it's the type of car. No, it's not. Right. Arguing over, it's different, but still a motor vehicle. So you can't train the immune system and say, this is how you analyze this. You just got to get after it. And that's why the flu vaccine usually contains multiple variants. So it can train you across multiples of the most probable that you're going to be exposed to.
Right.
Now, I want to get into this before I get into the mRNA part. Getting a vaccine doesn't mean you don't get sick. Guaranteed. You can still be exposed. It's just you've taught your system how to react to it. It's like teaching your dog what an enemy is. It's going to react to it. If you don't teach it, it doesn't know what to do, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to beat you up before it realizes you're in trouble. Instead of knowing, hey, that guy with the knife is a danger, go before he even gets to me. That's how the vaccines work, right? So you're training it to know what to look for and going after it when it's just getting started. But getting sick is based on how much that virus enters your system over a given amount of time. The more those viruses get into you, the faster you'll get sick, and it may be faster your body can respond to it. So, if I'm sitting right next to a person that's got the flu and I'm kissing on them, I'm probably going to get the flu faster than if I sat over in a corner and didn't get anything. Now, mRNA is a little different. So because of the way the vaccine works, we built this new type of vaccine, and it's been in development for like decades. This whole process of mRNA vaccines has been around for a while. Now, do you know how COVID reproduces at all?
Mm-mm.
So the flu will take resources from your body and it'll make a copy of itself and move on, right? The self-replicating. COVID works a little differently. It corrupts the genetics in a single cell and overrides how it makes DNA in order to make parts of itself, takes it back out, reassembles it, and that's the new COVID virus. And it does it generally in your upper respiratory system before it invades your whole body. mRNA takes a fragment of the DNA from the virus based on whichever one, and it goes in your body and basically does the same thing, but it doesn't make the whole virus. It just makes a part of the virus so that it doesn't hurt you other than destroying a little bit of cells for that replication process. Then your body fights that off, and that's how it learns.
So it fights off the not so deadly version of the virus that you put in there intentionally to learn the skill to kill it?
It's like fighting the leg off a spider, not the whole spider.
Okay.
But once you know what a spider leg looks like, anything that has a spider leg is your enemy now.
Okay.
And the thing about that is mRNA vaccines were pretty much brand new to the mass of society. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about how that works. And people are scared of vaccine. Like we have RK talking about how bad polio vaccines. It's like polio is like the flu vaccine. Like,
yeah.
Relax. It's fine. And then there's a lot of rhetoric around, well, it gave all these kids heart problems and all this kind of stuff. It's like, okay, the reality is what they found was the conditions that they got from the vaccine would have been 10 times worse had they actually gotten the actual virus, because it would have overwhelmed them versus just a little bit. And it was the way their immune system responded to the virus. Like they probably would have died if they got COVID. I don't know. I don't have the data behind that, but I do know that there were plenty of people that had way worse reactions of the same type getting COVID than getting the shot.
Right.
To my knowledge, nobody died from the shot. And then the other argument was, well, it alters our DNA. And it's like,
I mean, we kind of wanted it to, right?
well, no, like the imprint of a virus doesn't always affect your DNA. Like the flu doesn't rewrite your DNA. But what most people don't know is that viruses have, over the time of humanity, going back, whatever, have altered our DNA. That's why we have like arms and legs, because it altered our DNA and mutations and natural selection and all that kind of stuff. Viruses have definitely altered human DNA. It's kind of one of the reasons we are the way we are.
Well, I'll be damned.
And
thank you, viruses.
Yes,
No.
some viruses.
Right.
But like I have seen, other than the normal reactions to stabilizers, I haven't seen anything that has said any detrimental long-term effects to mRNA versus standard or compared to getting the actual virus itself.
Right. Did you experience COVID? Did you have COVID?
I had Omicron, and
Oh, really?
I was down for about 2 days, and that was even after having several shots at that point. I'd already been vaccinated 2, maybe 3 times, but I got it. I was down for a few days, not that big a deal. Recovered over the next week, and it's kind of back to normal.
Yeah, I had it twice. First time it was kind of bad. It was like the worst sick that I've ever had. But then after that,
the flu I had was the worst. The last flu one I had.
I've had a pretty bad flu before.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably about equal. I'd say they're comparable.
Well, I mean, they're both, if I understood correctly, COVID is a distant cousin to the common cold.
Yeah.
Hey, fun.
All right, so let's talk about the end of the national parks.
So because of 2 different things that have happened recently, tariffs on the importing of natural rare earth minerals and on lumber, they have been trying to redirect where we get those resources from. And the national parks, cost a lot of money comparatively, like compared to what, right?
Other national parks of similar size?
I mean, nothing compared to the U.S. military, but whatever.
Yeah.
But they also hold those 2 resources. The lithium supply in the world was significantly limited in what we understood to be available up until the last few years. And just recently, they have discovered 2 major lithium deposits in the United States and
Where?
a copper deposit out in one of the parks under one of the mountains there.
I was hoping you weren't going to say like Yellowstone. They're going to close it down. They're going to turn it into a freaking shopping mall. I'm like, great. Here we go.
Well, Yellowstone's a whole different animal, but I don't know if you heard this, but they have detected a large magma buildup under Yellowstone, and it's becoming more toxic now because it is having more magma issues. And they're starting to close down areas of Yellowstone because the geysers are getting too toxic or too hot, and people are dying.
No shit.
Yeah,
that's scary because my whole life anyway, I've been hearing about this big threat about Yellowstone exploding.
But we're closer than ever based on
Good
my
to
understanding.
Know. Thanks.
And for those who are watching, if Yellowstone fully erupts, we are toast.
Yeah, holler
as the kids say, we're cooked.
Yeah, we're literally cooked.
Cooked.
Send your boy a warning from Yellowstone if you guys hear the ground a rumbling.
Well, okay, so that's funny. Like, I was talking to a scientist, and they said if Yellowstone erupted, we would feel it here, which is really wild. Like, if it fully erupted, we would feel it here.
Yellowstone it's in Montana, right?
Something like that.
I think it's in Montana. Or is it like South Dakota?
That direction. It's a pretty big area.
Where is Yellowstone?
But if the largest nuclear bomb went off in Washington State, we would feel it here, is my understanding.
Yeah. It is in Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Shit. I'll be down.
But even with that, you got to realize how far Wyoming is from here, practically across the country, and we will still feel it to some degree. And even if we don't feel much, like the chair fell over, the smoke cloud and ash cloud that gets here will be severe.
That would be nuts. I can't even imagine that. Have you seen, remember 2012, that movie?
I've seen
John Cusack?
Volcano with, oh my gosh, the guy from The Fugitive. Tommy Lee Jones.
John Cusack?
No, Tommy Lee Jones. Volcano.
What movie is that?
Volcano. It's literally just called Volcano.
I don't think I've seen Dante's Peak. I don't think I've seen Volcano.
Dante's Peak was what? Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah. Ooh. Yes. One of those guys.
Yeah.
Definitely that type of person.
So way worse than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going to open it up. They're selling off the land for commercial. There's an executive order passed. They're going to start selling it off. They're going to make it available for mining and logging. It's going to be a whole thing.
And it's because of the tariffs, because we don't want to get tariffed on where we... Is that the stuff we're trying to get from Ukraine? The territory we're trying to get from Ukraine?
So, not necessarily. Lithium has been discovered in a variety of different areas now. One of the largest reserves of lithium, to my understanding, is actually in China. The stuff in Ukraine, the massive product is actually wheat.
Weed?
But there are potential rare earth, but I have not seen anything deciding exactly how much of what is where, because
what did you say that the earth metal was?
No. We used to get most of our like wheat, like
wheat
bread stuff,
okay.
The stuff we put in our bread. Wheat.
I was like, weed?
I
think we
Ukraine.
get that from California, dude. The weed comes from Cali now.
Well, it comes from a lot of places.
Yeah, it does now.
Which is ironic. With global warming, there's more places for weed now than there used to be for growing potential.
And the way weed is in this country right now is so weird. Because I in Nevada, it's legal recreationally and medically. I mean, you still have to go into a dispensary to get it. Here, they label it different ways. They say that they cultivate it in different ways. And they label it with, this one's a Delta 8, this one's a Delta 9 THCA, this one's a Delta 9 THCP.
Yeah, they're different chemical compounds with slightly different physical neurotropical differences for how they're absorbed. Yeah, it's pretty neat how all that works. CBD versus CBN versus CB. Oh, yeah.
There's some miracle stuff about it. I wish they would just legalize it outright.
Yeah, RFK campaigned on legalizing it.
Who?
Trump said RFK said he was going to legalize it. Trump said he was going to legalize it. Biden said he was going to legalize it. But
I support it.
The medical industry doesn't want it. But it takes away the pill factories, so they can't.
I know. It takes away. It'll take away a ton of pills.
Oh yeah, and cure a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But it'll probably end up happening just like gambling did in North Carolina. We'll wait till Virginia's got it as recreational now, if I remember correctly. South Carolina's onboarding with it. Tennessee has stuff. West Virginia has it fully legalized.
Yeah.
Once they realize they're losing money, they'll do just like they did with gambling and legalize it here.
Yeah, but it's still a slow process. Like, it's going to take many, many years before the full country's on the same page.
We will see.
We shall see.
It's all about the right wheels getting greased.
Right. What do you think about the tariffs now, where they're at today? Do you think President Trump caved to China?
100%.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Like, do you hear him on TV with Zing, what's his name, and talking about how awesome they are in their deal? Do we Are we getting this in the media with video clips of them making an awesome deal? Is he been at the front of the thing saying, look, we got 0 tariffs? No, none of that happened. No, he lowered his, and then I think they're supposed to be lowering theirs, and it's still 20% higher than it should have been, and it's still 30-something% depending on how much the product is. People think we got a win, and it didn't. He capitulated. They have a ban on importing stuff.
With. Like, he didn't even have a clear understand. Like, what did you even do? You said to your constituents, "I'm going to make China pay this 184%, whatever it was."
No, that wasn't the rhetoric that matters. What the rhetoric that matters is we're going to stop giving China our money so they can build their military. That was the first one. Second one is I'm going to bring back all those jobs that we lost to China. That was the second one. And if we lower our tax rates before that happens, then it's a net loss for everybody.
Yeah. And then he fucking backed off anyway.
And so remember what happened with soybeans the last time he was in office?
Kind of.
So for those who aren't familiar, we used to sell a ton of soybeans to China. And then we put that tariff in place. This is in our first rodeo with those. And China said, well, screw you. We're not going to buy any of yours. So they basically stopped buying ours and started buying it from other sources around the world. And then our soybean farmers
then
went,
he had to
oh
bail
my God,
the
I'm going broke. So they had to subsidize the farms to grow soybeans and waste it because we couldn't sell it overseas. And here we are again doing the same shit with a different product base.
I wonder what the percentage of all those farmers that voted for Trump that time voted for him again this time. It's probably like near 80%.
Probably. I mean, if you look at Fox News's rhetoric around that kind of stuff, I was watching Fox News the other day, and the lady on there was like, and Trump is putting these tariffs on some country, and thank God Trump is our president. Right. He's got this, and he's going to save our country. And I'm like, whoa.
North Korea shit.
Even if you just take apart the Trump applied tariffs to this country in order to do this, that's fine. I get that. You want to communicate that? That makes sense.
Yeah.
But thank God should not be in that statement. Our glorious leader should not be in that statement.
No.
And save our country should not be in that statement. Facts over opinions. And when the majority of the country is getting that kind of brainwashing,
yeah,
and lacks that informational void being filled with conspiracy, this is what you got. Critical thinking has gone out the window for the average person.
And it leaves like people who can critically think in a place where you can't even have a conversation with a person that is unable to do it, because you get to a point where it's just like we don't agree on simple facts at that point. There's nowhere for us to go.
So there's the idea of winning the argument versus understanding together. And there's a large demographic of the U.S. who is more interested in winning and being right and being better and feeling superior in that than to try to figure out how to be common. That was the story I was wanting to talk about. The black guy in the KKK.
Is there, you want me to pull up a clip?
No.
Okay.
But I did pull up his name somewhere. Oh, I lost it. So there was I think like a blues player or something in a club. Mm-hmm. And he's playing something, and the KKK member walks up and goes, I've never heard a black person play music like this. You sound like, I don't know, what's that one white guy that used to play all the piano? He had a movie. Anyway, you sound like this guy, and like Great Balls of Fire guy.
Okay. And
they end up becoming friends, and like they get to know each other, and they start learning about each other as a person, right?
Yeah.
And then the black guy's like, I feel like I've been lied to all my life. And the white guy's like, I've definitely been lied to all my life. And he ends up becoming, and they invite other Klan members. They become friends.
That's the story in Durham, right?
It was like in Alabama or something.
I think that exact thing happened in Durham because I went to a play about it.
Yeah, it's happened like at least 3 times that I'm aware of it. This happens like, I'm going to let go of the preconceived notions. I want to find out who this person is.
Right.
Like, even if we don't become friends, I just like to hear why.
Yeah.
Like, if he'll take the time, cool. If he doesn't, that's fine. I'll walk away.
Yeah.
But multiple times I heard about this, like they've infiltrated some hate group by just letting them experience who this person is. And it lets tribalism resolve. It lets this conflict, you get to know somebody as a human being, as a person. And like, there are people that have the whataboutism that I'm going to say a point, you start arguing, I'm going to say the next point before I can be convinced that I'm wrong. Like, there are people like that we talk to all the time, but I'm still friends with them. I'll still fist bump them. I'll still help them out because they're still people at the end of the day.
Right.
And that story of the 200 or 500 chapter members of KKK and all the breakdown because they actually got to meet somebody and find out they're a human being with hopes and dreams and loves and wishes and fears and like blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. a whole person
Yeah.
starts to melt away. And there's been like dating shows based on this and all these different discoveries. And it makes me think of like people that do all this arguing. It's like, if you can get through to finding out who they are as a human being and vice versa, a lot of this just goes away. But we've become so detached from one another, the ability to find out about another person and sympathize with another human being has become so broken that we've become significantly more.
It's become
corrupt
so
as a
rare.
society.
I don't think it's completely gone, because I do meet people, I would say fairly regularly, that I can connect with on a level like that. But for the most part, most people I come across are like that. They're just ready to get their point in. Like, they're not listening. They're waiting to talk again.
Yeah. Tony Robbins is really good at that kind of stuff. And he's kind of like my role model for this. And I've actually made more of a point of trying to go up and just meet people or just talk to people. Like, you and I just randomly became friends. It's great. And the person that connected us was just another random friend I just happened to meet.
Yep.
But one of my favorite stories was I was at Target at the Starbucks waiting for my order. All the tables were full. And there's just one guy there, young African-American descent, looked like he was a football player for one of the local schools. I forget which one, just lonely and bored. I just like, hey man, can I just sit down with you? Like, there's not a lot of chairs. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, how's your day going? By the time my coffee was ready, he and I become friends, gave me a hug as he left, and he left with a smile. And I'm like, yes.
That's beautiful. I love that.
So since then, like, I try to make a point of becoming human to as many people as I can. And sometimes you can't.
Right.
Like, I was trying to say something to one person. It's like, hey, do you need help? I got a husband. I'm like, all right, okay, whatever. I don't give a shit.
That's not what I was
got a
after.
wife. We're good.
Yeah. Whoa.
But, trying to be more human. And both those stories are inspirational. And I try to listen. I try to do the same thing as much as I can. But man, has that gotten harder.
It is. I try to do the same thing. And like, this part of my life, I'm choosing the people that I surround myself with a lot differently than before. I'm meeting people in gyms and, places where good decisions and work is being done instead of like bars and, crack houses, like horrible places. I get a lot of the guy who introduced us kind of, we've been doing work together. So I meet a lot of good business contacts, just overall good people in the world at the gym.
I love that line from Men in Black. He goes, individual people can be kind, compassionate, caring, wonderful. People can be scary, mean, and vicious.
So true.
But a lot of our world is based on that. At some point, we need to talk about tribalism and how that feeds into all this.
Yeah, maybe we'll, maybe from now on. Do you think you got enough time to do you want to do it weekly or so?
I'm down. I'm in.
Okay. Well, why don't we just alter this we'll keep this as a living document, and we'll let's throw a couple more topics in it, and then we'll just do maybe this time next week.
Sounds good. I'm in.
All right. I think that was good. I think we got some good stuff.
Yes. Predictions before we dock out.
Let's do it.
Massive tariffs against countries that haven't capitulated.
Okay.
And then really shitty deals on some that don't. More stonewalling the Supreme Court and them not acting. And I expect at least one event in the next 2 weeks.
What do you think what items are we going to run out of the store in the stores across America first coming up soon? Email your answers to mcmedia.network.llc@gmail.com, and we'll talk about it on the next episode.
There you go. Love it.
All right. All right, Jonathan Travis. Thanks for the conversation again, Wayne. We'll talk soon. Can you let it upload for, Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Almost Above Average. If you enjoyed our conversation, please take a moment to share this podcast with your friends and family. Your support means the world to us. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback, so feel free to reach out anytime to mcmedia.network.llc@gmail.com. And if you're enjoying the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. It really helps us reach more listeners like you. And thanks again for following on Almost Above Average, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.